Hello and welcome to OCL at the Movies, a podcast to discuss films available in the Ocean County Library catalog.
Hello and welcome to OCL at the Movies. I'm your host Lou Nemphos, joined by my co-host Mike Mahoney.
Hey everybody.
And today we're going to do Summer Movies Part 2. So the first podcast we brought to you were summer movies, and there were so many movies that we wanted to talk about and so many summer fun movies that we decided to do a second dose of summer movies. So the format that we're going to follow is we pick one movie from Hoopla, one movie from Kanopy, and then one that's a DVD. And Hoopla and Kanopy are free library services that the Ocean County Library offers if you have your card. And with your card, you have access to a number of things on Hoopla, not just movies. They have music and books and audiobooks, graphic novels.
Magazines, I believe.
Yeah. So Hoopla is more than just movies. Kanopy is this really nice curated movie site with a lot of foreign films, documentaries, things like that. So we're going to start off with the movies we watched from Hoopla. And Mike, what was the first one you watched?
First one I watched, Lou, was a movie called Summer Rental. PG. It was about an hour and 27 minutes, so not a long movie. Comedy, slapstick. Carl Reiner, who's the father of Rob Reiner, was the director. Had an estimated budget of around $11 million, and it grossed about $25 million in the movies. I was 8 years old when this movie came out, but I don't remember it. I don't remember seeing it. Don't remember hearing about it until recently. Yeah. So basically, it stars John Candy, and you said that was his first lead.
First lead in an American-made production.
Okay.
He's from Canada, so
yeah.
In 1983, he was the lead in a movie called Going Berserk, which I've never seen.
No,
but I think it was him and Eugene Levy. But keep going here.
Carrie Green, who I recognize from Goonies.
Yes,
she plays his daughter.
Well, that was her second role. Goonies was her first.
Because they were the same year.
Yeah, same year.
So Goonies was first.
Goonies was first. Or maybe I don't know if they were released at the same time, but they came out together.
Karen Austin plays his wife. I looked at her credentials. She's mostly a TV actress.
She's really good in it too.
Like, she is.
I think it would be hard to cast with John Candy to find that person that's right. And I think she does a really good job.
Right. And then Rip Torn, I know who's been around a while.
Fantastic. Like a character actor. But he's known for this movie that came out in 1973 called Payback. That's where he was found. Okay. And it's like 36 hours and it's like crazy country music singer. And that really put him on the map. And the people in this really, you really feel like they're playing their roles.
Right,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Richard Crenna, who's the antagonist in the film, I go, where do I know him from? He was in the Rambo movie.
Yes. He's
like the Colonel Stockman, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so basically the premise is he's John Candy. It starts off, he's a air traffic controller in Atlanta. I don't know if it's what's the name of the Atlanta airport? The O'Hare? Not O'Hare. That's Chicago.
I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's massive.
Yeah,
I've been to the Atlanta airport. There's there's trams you have to take. It's a huge airport.
So the movie starts off. He's like this overworked, stressed out air traffic controller. He almost causes a plane collision. There's a fly on the screen. He thinks it's a helicopter. So his boss is like, "Hey, you need a vacation. Take a 2-week vacation." So he takes his family to this fictional coastal town in Florida. I forget what the name of the town was.
Citrus Cove.
Yeah, Citrus Cove.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, they're beset with these mishaps.
The whole movie is John Candy suffering.
Pretty much.
Family suffering. And that's where the comedy comes in.
Right.
Because he's so good at being that everyman.
Right.
And he really reprised that role in Great Outdoors.
Absolutely. That was 1987, I believe.
Yeah. And
like some of the things that happen, I think they end up they're in this nice little rental home, and then somebody knocks on their door.
Yeah,
hey, you're in the wrong house.
Yes, it's like I said, everything bad that happens to him happens to him, and it's a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before the podcast, it's funny, and then it kind of peters out.
Right. The first and Richard Crenna is the antagonist. He's this rich, snooty, 7-time winner, sailboat race winner, and that John Candy kind of has these run-ins with, none of them good. And the premises of the movie is, it starts off, the first 2/3 of the movie is a lot of comedy, a lot of this situational comedy, where John Candy again is on the beach and his cooler the water keeps coming out of the cooler, getting on all these beachgoers. So the beach is so crowded.
It's so crowded.
Yeah. And Should I talk about how it ends? I don't want to give too much away.
Well,
but
let's just put it this way. It was very similar to Better Off Dead.
Yes.
No, excuse me, One Crazy Summer,
Yes,
which
the
we
book,
talked about
yeah.
in the other one, where, it's a regatta.
Right.
So there's a race.
There's a race at the end,
Yes.
and it does have a happy ending. But the last, it's only an hour and a half. So the first 2/3 are just slapstick comedy,
Yes.
all these situational comedy situations, and then I guess the last half hour kind of gets a little more serious, where the comedy kind of drops off a little bit. I liked it,
Yeah.
but I noticed the movie kind of lost steam for me the last half hour because it was maybe took more of a serious tone.
I saw this movie a decent amount as a child,
Okay.
and I always really liked it, and I always thought it was funny. And my wife, it's one of her favorite movies.
Oh, it is? Okay.
When I first met her, Summer Rental was her favorite. That and Jaws were like her two
Mm-hmm.
favorite summer movies. So she, loves the idea of a beach movie and people on vacation and that whole idea. So really good. But here again, like the plot is less important than the
Right,
comedy.
right,
And when it goes into the plot, it just
Right.
is very
You're kind of
cliche.
disappointed in a way. At least I was.
Yeah. I think the best comedies are the ones that go beginning to end comedy.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
they-
was expecting.
That's what
Yeah.
they focus on.
Right.
I was talking to you earlier that John Candy had 3 movies come out
Right.
in the summer of '85. It was this, Volunteers, and Brewster's Millions. They all came out. But here again, he was in Brewster's Millions, he's the second to Richard Pryor, and in Volunteers, he's the second to Tom Hanks. But this one, he got to star in it. And then from that, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like he became
Right.
Who's Harry Crumb, like a comedic actor. But this one really set him like to become a star. We talked about Carl Reiner, the director. We talked about the movie he did after this in the first part, Summer School. So he did this in '85, and then he did Summer School in '87.
Okay.
So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm glad you got to watch it. you know.
No, I'm glad I watched it too.
Yeah.
So I was always a big John Candy fan. He was they said he was one of Hollywood's nicest guys too.
Yeah.
He was genuine.
Yeah, and I was reading in the trivia that the photos seen during the end credits were actually taken by Karen Austin, who was given a book of photography by John Candy, so that he and the other actors had something to do when they weren't filming.
Okay.
So he gave everybody photography books, and then she took
That's
photos,
awesome.
and then they, during the set, like that's how all those pictures came out. So I felt like Richard Crenna was playing like a Ted Knight light from Caddyshack.
Right,
Like
yes.
this really
Yeah, just like-
pompous,
Right.
entitled.
Pompous, rich, kind of I'm better than you
Snooty,
kind of person.
yeah. But I would say if you want something that's like a fun, mindless summer comedy, give it a shot. I would say, it's easy to watch, 87 minutes.
Yeah, very easy. Short
Yeah.
these days, right?
It flies by. So the movie I did for Hoopla, and some of the movies we've seen before, like I've seen Summer Rental, you haven't. This movie I never saw, but it showed up on a lot of lists, and it's called Indian Summer.
Right. I've never seen it either. So, yeah.
It was released in 1993, rated PG-13, 1 hour and 37 minutes. Big ensemble cast. Bill Paxton, Diane Lane, Alan Arkin, Elizabeth Perkins, Kevin Pollak, Julie Warner, Vincent Spano, Matt Craven, Kimberly Williams, and Sam Raimi. Huge cast.
Right, great cast.
And directed by Mike Binder. And the name might be a little familiar. He did a movie with Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle called Reign Over Me. And he did another movie with Kevin Costner called The Upside of Anger. More dramas. But not like a big, like mainstream director, but more like these more low budget or like independent type of films. The budget was $9 million, and it grossed $14 million in the U.S. and Canada. And the movie is Canadian.
Yes.
So the
Algonquin National Park, I
Yes.
believe.
Yeah. So the plot summary is 7 friends reunite for a week-long reunion at a summer camp in Ontario they used to attend as children, which is now threatened by being closed down.
Right.
So it's Alan Arkin, he plays like the camp counselor, and all these people that used to go to the camp 20 years ago, maybe like 7 or 8 show up for this weekend retreat.
Right.
And to me, it's more about the feel of like summer camp and the activities and like the nostalgia than like the plot and,
I agree.
and the story. I feel
agree.
like the look is really cool, and the cool thing is that the director and Sam Raimi, who plays the counselor's assistant, And he went on to be a famous director. He did Evil Dead.
Sam Raimi?
He did Spider-Man. Yeah, he's
I thought it was
big time.
Jeremy Piven when I first saw the guy.
Right.
I was like, is that Jeremy Piven? I had to go to the credits and look because they kind of look alike.
Right. So they actually went to this Camp Tamaqua. So they went as children.
Right.
So they shot it at the camp, and I think that adds a lot. But we talked about it before the podcast that Mike and I have never gone to summer camp. So the experience that you might have felt if you went, you might have a completely different experience about like how it is. Because, like I said, I never went to summer camp, like a sleepaway camp. So
I wish I did.
Yeah, right.
It,
Exactly. But
and it takes place in present. I mean, the movie came out in '93. I think it takes place in present day, early '90s. So I guess these kids were in camp in the '70s.
Right. You're right. So
early to mid '70s.
You have to think that maybe the people are like 35.
Yeah,
or 30,
maybe late 20s to mid 30s.
Well, I was thinking like if they were like late 20s, then they would have been, because it's 20 years later from when they went to camp.
That's right.
So if they were like 29, then they'd be 9 at camp. So I think maybe they were like 14 and 15 at camp.
Yeah, okay. So mid 30s, all right.
But yeah, a lot of these people went on to have big careers like Bill Paxton and Diane Lane, and of course Alan Arkin. You know, Kevin Pollak's a character actor. He's been in a bunch of things. Yeah, and then other people like you've seen and stuff. You're like, oh, that guy. You know, Matt Craven.
Yeah, he looked familiar.
He looked familiar. Vincent Spano looked familiar. Right. So I liked it. I liked the feel of it. I thought it was. It's more a drama, I would say, than like a comedy.
There's some comedy where they play pranks. I think Kevin Pollak always gets pranked on, but then he gets the last laugh at the end. But it's more of a drama for sure. And it makes me want. I assume it was filmed at this Algonquin National Park.
Yes.
And now I want to go there because it looks beautiful. It looks really nice.
Yeah. Like I would say, probably the nicest thing about it is like the way it's shot.
Yes, the scenery,
the look, the feel of it. So I liked it. I would give it like a recommendation to check it out. I don't see myself ever watching it again.
Yeah, same here.
But I enjoyed it. So let's talk about the next movie you did on Kanopy.
Okay, so Kanopy, this was a little interesting one called Endless Summer. It was a documentary. It wasn't a Hollywood film. Came out in 1966, an hour and 35 minutes. Since it was a documentary, it had there's no rating, no PG or R or anything. It was directed by a Bruce Brown, who was so Endless Summer is a surfing documentary. So directed and produced by a Bruce Brown, who started surfing in the 1950s, and while serving in the U.S. Navy in Oahu, Hawaii, he would use an 8mm camera to photograph surfers from California. So basically, the premises of the documentary is it follows two young surfers around the world, two American guys who are both in their early to mid-20s, Mike Hinson, if I'm saying that right, Hynson, and Robert August, as they look for the perfect wave. So they go all over around the world. They go to California, they're in Oahu, they're in Cape St. Francis, South Africa, they're in Dakar, Senegal, they're in Ghana, they're in Australia, they're in New Zealand, they're in Tahiti. And some of these places I had to look up, I like geography, so it kind of made me like look up where, I didn't know where Tahiti was. I've heard of it, but it's all the way out in French Polynesia, which is southeast of like New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because both surfers actually had to pay their own airfare.
Yeah.
And which was $1,400, which for inflation is about $15,000 today. And the production lasted 4 months.
You know what I found really interesting about it? Like in the 60s, these surfers wore suits onto the plane. They got dressed up for the plane, and it's so fascinating to see like surfing in Africa when they show those scenes of them surfing, and the Bruce Brown also narrates it.
Yeah, he was great as a narrator. And I thought the director was a narrator. Yes.
Yeah, and he talks about how potentially these waves have never been surfed before, and these people have never seen surfing before, and they're like mystified by it. You know these. Right. And here again, they even say in the movie that they might have never even seen white people before.
That's true.
And to see, in the water, these people that they've never seen before surfing on like a board, surfing has changed so much from like when, like if you watch surfing now, it's so different from then, just the style of it.
And the boards must have been, surfers today have like the wristband thing attached to the board.
Oh yeah, totally. Ripcord, yes.
I don't think they had that back then.
No.
And the boards are probably a lot heavier.
A lot heavier, yes. Probably very dangerous too. Yeah. But I never saw it before, but it showed up on a lot of lists.
Yeah, it was very good.
It spawned a whole new surfing culture, and we talked about it too, that he toured the U.S. in a bus in the summer of '64, screening the documentary in high school auditoriums and Lions clubs, and he just played it. No sound. He would put music over it.
Do you have like surfing music?
He would put surfing,
like
and he would narrate it like with a microphone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's how he
That's
got
amazing.
it to be, And I think it said something that he spent $50,000.
Yes, the budget was $50,000.
And the movie barely made any money in the theater, but somehow it ended up making $30 million.
Right.
Much later. It spawned a sequel.
1994, Endless Summer too.
Yes, and there's another one called Return to Endless Summer, which has footage from the first one that they didn't show. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I found it really interesting. I thought it from like a historical and like a geographical standpoint. I really liked it, and like I said, I don't think at that time anybody had seen anything like it. So
No,
I really think it
really got the interest in surfing to improve, and people start surfing more after this. But one thing I found interesting that stood out was that as they go to these different towns and cities and countries throughout the world, they mention the water temperature. And then sometimes it's maybe wintertime in the U.S. and it's summertime down there. But one thing I found interesting was in South Africa, on the west coast you have the Atlantic Ocean, on the east coast you have the Indian Ocean. And when they were in South Africa, they said that the water temperature was a 20-degree difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget which one was what. If the Atlantic was the colder of the two, I would say probably. But
well, that's why the movie's called Endless Summer, because they're chasing the summer. So they follow the summer of seasons. So when it's summer in Africa, they're in Africa. When it's summer in California, they're going to try to make sure everywhere they go it's the summer. So I found it really good, and I do believe it's also available on. We have it in DVD, and I also think it's on Hoopla too.
So it's all three.
I think it's on all three formats.
Trifecta. Okay.
Yeah. So if you like documentaries and you want to see some like really interesting history, I would totally recommend it.
Right.
The movie I chose for Kanopy is The Graduate, and released in 1967, rated PG. I don't think it would be PG today. Probably PG-13.
At least PG-13.
And
PG-13 came out when? 1982?
1984, I think.
Okay.
I think the first movie was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Okay.
I think they created the rating for that. It was 1 hour and 46 minutes, starring Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, Catherine Ross, Murray Hamilton, and directed by Mike Nichols. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Mike Nichols won for Best Director. And it won a 1968 Golden Globe for Best Picture, Comedy or Musical. It won Best Director, and Anne Bancroft won Best Actress.
Yeah, she was amazing.
It won a Grammy for Best Original Score.
Okay,
and
wow.
There was music, and that was Paul Simon and Dave Grusin. And then Mrs. Robinson, the big song from the movie, also won Record of the Year. So Simon and Garfunkel did the music for the movie. Mike Nichols has gone on to do great films too. He did Catch-22, Carnal Knowledge. He did Biloxi Blues. He did The Birdcage. The budget was $3 million.
How much did it make?
$105 million.
Wow.
And it was the third movie to ever gross $100 million. And we talked about it earlier. You got the first one. There's only been, before The Graduate, there were only 2 movies that ever grossed $100 million.
I got one of them right when I guessed before.
Right. Gone with the Wind.
1939.
1939. And then The Sound of Music, 1956.
Okay.
So the plot summary is a disillusioned college graduate finds himself torn between his older lover and her daughter. I don't know. When I saw it originally, I saw it when I was probably 20 or 21. I was just graduating, and I had that feeling of what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Right.
Because Dustin Hoffman graduates, he's upper middle class. He doesn't really know what he wants to do with his life.
Was he at Stanford or was he? Did it say where he was at school?
I don't know. Somewhere, I don't know if it was Stanford or Cal Berkeley or
Cal Berkeley. I think it was. Yes, it was Cal Berkeley.
Yeah, and he comes home and his parents basically show him off, and they have big parties for him, and then there's that wild scene where he's wearing the scuba gear in the pool, and
it's a demonstration. Yeah,
he's he's their baby.
Yeah.
Even though he's like in his 20s and he's just confused with like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? So then he gets seduced by an older woman, but then he really falls in love with the daughter.
Right.
And then
who he knew, right? Because they were
Yes.
neighbors, but
Yes.
I guess they knew of each other, but they.
right, family. I guess the
Yeah.
parents were friends.
Yeah, they were law partners.
Right.
Dustin Hoffman's father, played by, is that Murray Hamilton?
I forget. Mary Hamilton's the other is Elaine Robinson's.
Oh, okay.
I forget the other guy's name who plays the father.
He's still alive, by the way. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But,
Okay.
yeah, but Murray Hamilton, yeah, he was the mayor from Jaws.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the movie, it's shot really well. It's got a great pace. It's funny. I would say if you haven't seen it, see it. But
Definitely.
I think it matters when you see it. Like I said, I saw it when I was like 20, 21. I was relatable. And then I rewatched it just last week, and I found it to be a little bit less believable, less, I don't know, I found it to be a little bit like, he's not as likable as I once found him
Right,
as a character. He seems a little bit like possessive and like a little bit like unhinged.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of, again, it was made in '67, but it kind of seems a little bit unrealistic to me. The
Yes.
way how
Yes.
he ends up, ends up with this woman and some of the stuff he does.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it before, so
Right.
and that's why I love doing this podcast, because it's getting me to watch movies that I've always wanted to watch. And
Yeah.
I keep putting it off and putting it off, but now since we have to talk about it, I do have to watch it. So I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it.
And this one has a summer feel to it.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know about you, but like when I got out of high school and every year the summer was like what you looked forward to. You
Yeah.
couldn't wait
Yep.
for the summer to kind of like, I mean, I worked, but also like waste days away and
Right.
enjoy,
Sleep
go to
late.
the beach, and, yeah, go out. Just a little bit of trivia that when Dustin Hoffman showed up to the producer Joseph Levine's office for a casting interview, Levine mistook him for a window cleaner. So Hoffman in character cleaned the window. And they said Robert Redford tried out for the role of Benjamin Braddock.
Okay.
And when they asked him, like, we don't think you're right because, what is it like, when you get turned down by a woman? And he's like, what do you mean turned down by a woman? So they were like, yeah, you're not right for the part.
You're right, right.
So, yeah, it's an interesting film. It was Dustin Hoffman's first, like, movie role. I know he had been in TV and stuff, but all the performances are really good. Like, they're memorable. Catherine Ross is like, she got some awards for like best upcoming actress, and it put Dustin Hoffman on the map.
Yeah.
And it's if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth seeing.
And just to add to some of the trivia, Richard Dreyfuss is actually in it for
Yeah.
about 20 seconds.
Right.
When he's living in the boarding house.
Yeah.
And Richard Dreyfuss is like 20 years old. You
Yeah.
see him for like maybe 5 seconds, if that. And
Right.
then I forget the guy's name, but the actor who played Dustin Hoffman's father. He's like, right now he's about in his late 90s. He's still alive, and he's married to a Hollywood actress. I also forget her name, but they're the longest. I think they've been married like 75 years. They're the longest living Hollywood couple at the moment.
Well, you know that Anne Bancroft is married to Mel Brooks.
Yes.
And Dustin Hoffman was going to have a part in The Producers, which was a Mel Brooks movie
Right.
with Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder. And for whatever reason, he was like, you can try out for The Graduate because you're not going to get the part. But then when they got the part, then he wasn't in The Producers.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's funny how like this, if he was in The Producers in like a bit part, maybe he never would have been the star.
Right,
Maybe
yeah,
The
right.
Graduate.
It's
Because I really can't see anybody else in that movie
No.
playing the Benjamin Braddock character.
No.
I think Dustin Hoffman does like a phenomenal job at being this like disillusioned, awkward, like confused, somebody. And we've all been there with like, what are we going to do with our lives?
Right.
So, what DVD movie did you pick, Mike?
DVD, this one was a little more recent. Well, it's 13 years recent. It was
Sure.
called The Way, Way Back. PG-13, about an hour and 43 minutes. It's listed as a comedy, drama, teen drama, and it was co-directed by a Jim Rash and Nat Faxon, who are both in the movie.
Right.
And had a budget of $5 million. It made about $26.9 million. It stars Steve Carell, Toni Collette, Liam James, who plays the young man in the movie, Allison Duncan, yes, Allison Janney or Janney?
Janney, yeah.
Yeah, who was, I saw her, I thought she was a phenomenal in the movie I, Tonya.
She won an
Tonya
Academy
Harding,
Award for that, yes.
Sam Rockwell, who's always great, Amanda Peet, and Maya Rudolph, who you might recognize from Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
And it was filmed in East Wareham, Massachusetts, at a water park named Waterwiz, which is a real place.
Yes.
And it's not, the whole movie doesn't take place at this Waterwiz water park, but it's also filmed in Massachusetts beach town. So basically, the premise is you have this shy, socially awkward, introverted 14-year-old kid named Duncan, played by Leon James. He's from Albany or Albany area, who reluctantly goes on a summer vacation with his mom and her new boyfriend Trent, played by Steve Carell. So his parents are divorced or going through a divorce. So he doesn't want to be there to begin with. And Steve Carell has his daughter named Steph, and Steph and Trent are kind of both rude and condescending to Duncan in a lot of ways. And basically, but then he ends up going to this water park, which is managed by Sam Rockwell. His name is Owen, and Owen kind of takes him in and makes him work at the water park. He feels accepted. His confidence grows. It was good. It had a good feeling to it, but
Yes.
This is the second time I watched it.
Yes.
And some of the stuff just wasn't realistic.
Well, the other thing too is I don't think anybody knows he's working at the water park. Like his
Right, his mom-
family,
right, they don't
nobody
know.
knows.
Right.
Every day he goes somewhere.
Right, he takes somebody's bike.
Yeah.
He goes on the bike,
Right.
and then
Right.
the mom doesn't know he's
Right, and to me, Sam Rockwell is the movie.
Yes.
He steals the show. He's such a caring and likable guy, and I feel like there's like the dichotomy of Trent, and I like Steve Carell,
Yeah.
and I always think of him as a nice guy. In this,
He's very this,
difficult.
yes.
Yeah, it's a really interesting turn for him
Yeah.
because he's very forceful. He's very difficult to like.
Patronizing too. He keeps calling
Yes.
Duncan, "Okay, buddy, you got that, buddy?" Kind of like in a patronizing kind of way.
So I feel like Owen, Sam Rockwell's character, is the father figure that Duncan wants.
Yes.
And once he goes to the water park, he blossoms. He blooms.
That's true, yes.
And the way that they do it in the movie is at the beginning of the movie, Duncan is insanely pale. He's like ashen and he looks miserable and he just like runs away from people. He's so awkward. And then through the water park, and
It's like he's transformed.
he's transformed, right?
Right.
He blossoms, he blooms, and there's a scene that like is the impetus for his awakening, and it's a dance scene where he has to tell these break dancers like, "Hey, you can't break dance in the
Right,
water park."
they're playing loud music in the water park. This whole crowd is gathering around,
Right.
Kinda causing a security risk because all the people are in one area.
Right, so they're break dancing,
Right.
And I just think that especially today, that if this boy came over to this group of people that was having this great time and tried to break it up, I think that he would probably be heckled and picked on, and
Right.
he would not be listened to. But in the movie, and if you can let it go on how like the movie formulates his ascent to happiness, then you'll be fine. Because through the experience at the water park, he grows up, he blossoms, he becomes like a better person,
Right.
So I liked it. I wouldn't watch it again, but I would definitely say check it out. It's definitely worth seeing, I think, because of the performances. But we talked about it before that like everybody at the water park is great to him, and everybody outside the water park in his life is terrible to him.
Yeah.
So you see like the idealized Summer, and then like the Summer that he has
Right.
when he's not at the park.
Right. And he does kind of reconcile with his mother. Like his mother's kind of mean to him, kind of in the beginning. They have the movie, like she doesn't know where he is. She's drinking with
Yeah.
the neighbors, and then she kind of like
She's very concerned with her relationship
Yeah.
with Trent. That
Yeah.
seems to be more important to
Right.
her than the relationship she has with her son. Now, the movie was written in 2007.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it was
Okay.
written as The Way Back. But the title was changed to avoid confusion with the film The Way Back in 2010.
with Ben Affleck.
I don't know if it's that one or there might have been another one.
I think the Ben Affleck one might have been after 2013. Okay.
Yeah, so the title refers to the way back seat of the.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the movie, he's in the station wagon.
Right.
And I don't know, depending on when you were born, they used to have station wagons with like there were two rows of seats, and then there was like a seat where you could sit backwards.
Right.
Almost
You're
like
facing out the back. Right.
Yeah. So that's where he sits, and it was the 1970 is colloquial expression for the third, often hidden seat, located in the cargo section of the station wagon. So, yeah, I would say, just take it for what it is. Don't think
read into it too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you'll have a good time with it.
Right.
And if you like Sam Rockwell, it's a must-see.
Yeah, I agree.
He's
Great.
fantastic. And the DVD I did, Mike, was Do the Right Thing.
Oh, all right, another classic.
And released in 1989, rated R, 2 hours, starring huge cast, Danny Aiello, John Turturro, Spike Lee, Ossie Davis, Ruby Dee, Giancarlo Esposito, Bill Nunn, Samuel L. Jackson in an early role, and it introduced Rosie Perez. That was her first acting credit. And it was written and directed by Spike Lee, and he also stars as Mookie. It got 2 Oscar nominations, Danny Aiello for Best Supporting Actor and Best Original Screenplay for Spike Lee. The budget was $6.5 million. It made $27.5 million domestically and $37.5 worldwide. And
rated R, right?
Rated R.
Yeah.
The F word appears 240 times.
Oh, wow.
So that's an F word every 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize. I mean, I noticed. I know they were cursing in the movie, but I didn't realize it was that many times.
I think the movie that has the most F words in it is The Wolf of Wall Street, and I think it has over 500.
Oh my gosh!
But probably prior to that, it was this.
Platoon had a lot too. I remember I went and sat and watched. It had over 100.
Yeah, and it starts out, and I think I appreciate it so much because it just starts out as like a slice of life, a day in Bed-Stuy, right? And it's just all these different cultures and all these different people, and you get to experience the Sal's Pizzeria, where it's Danny Aiello and his 2 sons, and they run this pizza place.
Pino and Pino.
But they're in a predominantly black neighborhood,
right?
And then it also shows a Korean market,
right,
in a predominantly black neighborhood. And I really think that it captures the way different cultures feel about one another, in a sense of like, I don't know what it's like to feel like as a minority in that sense, but throughout the movie, you'll see like one culture, like there's a scene where there's the 3 guys, the corner men.
Yes.
And there's 3 guys, Robin Harris, Paul Benjamin, and Frankie Faison. They sit on a corner and they're saying, this Korean family just moved here last year and they own a business. And nobody here owns a business,
right?
And it's like, why are they here? Why aren't they in Koreatown?
Right.
So we live in a very homogenized area, but like in New York, there's little boroughs,
right?
Little sections. There's a Greek section, and there's an Armenian section. There's a So the movie just it follows like a day to day, but it's really hot.
Right.
And,
so like a week-long heat wave.
Yes, and things just progressively get, things boil.
Yes.
They reach a boiling point, and then it completely changes. The last half. I don't really want to talk too much about what happens, but the film was inspired by actual incidents in the New York City, where some black youths were chased out of a pizzeria by some white youths in a section of New York City known as Howard Beach.
Yes, they do chant that in the movie at the end.
And all the performances are like out of this world. The acting is scary good, and you can kind of identify with all the different characters and their experiences and what they're going through.
Right.
Let's just see. Spike Lee wrote the script in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And despite the mayor's Ossie Davis. He's like a drunk guy that like knows everybody, and he walks around.
Been
the
around,
town.
grew up during the Jim Crow era,
And there's a woman, mother, sister,
yes,
she's like out on the stoop, and she's like the wise sage of the neighborhood. They don't get along in the movie, but they're married in real life.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes, they frequently performed together until Davis's death in 2005. And like I said, all the scenes from the corner men were improvised. None of that was scripted.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And it was a feature film debut for Martin Lawrence. He has a bit part in it.
Yes, he does.
And the title comes from a Malcolm X quote that says, "You've got to do the right thing." And the opening sequence where Rosie Perez's dance, she dances through the entire sequence, like fast dances. That took 8 hours to film, and that song, "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy, was written for the movie.
Okay.
So, what did you think of the movie overall?
I liked it. I mean, growing up in near New York, I know, there's different ethnicities in different parts of the city, and I think it captured, how race relations really, were back then and in the 80s.
Yeah.
And, the heat, the summer heat is just making people more agitated than normal, I believe. And as Lou mentioned, I think the acting is just phenomenal.
It's hard to say if and everything that happens in the movie, it's like, is anything that happens, because there is violence that happens at the end, and you say to yourself, was it worth it?
Right.
And I don't think it was, because nothing changed.
Right.
Everything was the same. The people went on with their lives,
right.
except for the few people, but they'll probably rebuild. And it's definitely something I think that you should see. And I know when the movie came out, they were really worried that it was going to incite riots, incite violence. Yeah, but I don't think it was meant in that tone. I don't think Spike Lee meant that. I think he's more of this is a movie showing I would say more pacifist.
Right. It was more like an anti-violence movie. That's the message I got.
That's what I got too. Yeah. That's what I got too. And at the end, he has a nice quote from Martin Luther King.
Right.
And that's what I always think about when I see these wild acts of violence. It's like, what did it accomplish anything?
No,
did it solve anything?
This creates more violence.
Exactly.
Most of the time.
Exactly. So yeah, it's out of all the summer movies, this is the one where you feel like the heat.
Yes.
You feel how uncomfortable it is. Samuel L. Jackson, this is one of his first roles, plays a great DJ.
Right.
Bill Nunn plays Radio Raheem, who plays a guy that just walks around with a radio, and he gives this amazing speech about love and hate, and he's got these rings on that say love and hate, and that's based on a movie 1955 called Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum. He plays a preacher that has tattooed on his hand love and hate, so that was like an homage. So yeah, I say, if you haven't seen it, check it out. And if you've seen it, watch it again, because it's just an experience, and the acting is so good. So we were talking before about, we offer here at the library in Ocean County. We have DVDs and Blu-rays, we have Kanopy, and we have Hoopla. But there's a free resource that anybody can access. So if you don't live in Ocean County, you don't have access to these things, YouTube. YouTube has 4,000 free movies that you can watch.
4,000.
Yeah, and I wrote a list, and I'm just going to battle through some here real quick, but Summer Rental's one of them. Mm-hmm. The Da Vinci Code, American Sniper, Titanic, Terminator 2, Patriots Day, Full Metal Jacket, Platoon, The Firm, Malcolm X. If you like the Jesse Soames series with Tom Selleck, the Police Academy movies, Major League, Weird Science, Boy in the Striped Pajamas, United 93, Escape from Alcatraz, Toy Soldiers, A Beautiful Mind, The Warriors, Gangs of New York, Das Boot, Capote, Cool Hand Luke, Enter the Dragon, Dr. Zhivago. There's so many good movies, and that's just a little list that I wrote down. So, if you don't have access to our resources, YouTube is a great free resource.
Is there a parameter, Lou? Do you have to go on YouTube to search for these free movies? Is there a certain advanced search you need?
So when you go to YouTube, you can click on movies. There's different choices, and there's like music, movies. There's different categories. So you can click on movies, and then it'll show you like ones you could pay for, ones that you can have with subscriptions. Like if you have a subscription to like HBO or something, you can, I guess, watch it through YouTube. And then there's a section for free. So I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have to watch commercials. But these other ones are free with ads if you don't have. But here again, like a couple ads to watch these great movies. I think it's a great resource. In case you've used all your tickets with Hoopla or Kanopy and you want to keep watching movies, YouTube is a great resource.
I agree.
So our next podcast will be bringing you, it's going to be a retrospective of Christopher Nolan, because we are going to see The Odyssey.
Yes, got great reviews so far.
We're going to see it in IMAX, and I've tried to do everything in my power not to read anything about it and know anything about it, and you've been looking to get tickets, and you can't.
Yeah, for the closest IMAX theater to us is actually the Monmouth Mall, or what's left of the Monmouth Mall.
Right.
There's the AMC theater up there that has an IMAX. And I think I was looking at next Tuesday for the 6 o'clock showing, and there's some seats left, but they're all in the two front rows, which you don't want.
Yeah.
And there's maybe 4 or 5 seats I saw that were open, but kind of like sporadically.
Yeah. So this movie, especially in IMAX, is doing really well. Everybody wants to see it on the big screen. So we're going to see it, and our next podcast will be reviewing it. And while we review it, we're going to talk more about Christopher Nolan, who now is arguably one of the best directors
I agree.
around.
Yes.
And his last two movies, Oppenheimer and Dunkirk,
Phenomenal.
were movie theater experiences for me. I'll never forget. And I was fortunate enough to see them both on IMAX, and I thought they were both fantastic. So I am going in with, high expectations, but then I don't want to expect too much.
You're not going to watch the trailer or anything.
No,
like that,
I'm not going to watch the trailer. I know certain people are in it, but I didn't even know they were in it. But it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. It's the odds-on favorite to win the Academy Award now.
I'm sure.
And so that'll be our next podcast. But thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Lou Nemphos, joined by Mike Mahoney.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We had fun, and I learned a lot doing watching these movies, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for listening to OCL at the Movies. All titles mentioned in today's episode are available through the Ocean County Library in digital and physical formats, free with your library card. Until next time, happy viewing!